The other thing we need to think about is resonance. And this is going back to the first slide. So spaces will reinforce the harmonics of an instrument, and that's really important because if we think of reverb as just an effect that we add to a sound that makes it sound like maybe it's far away or has an emotional cue, that's cool, that's good. But more often than not, we can actually use the harmonics and the resonance of a room to reinforce harmonics that might be either missing or need to be exaggerated in an instrument. And so tuning a room or tuning the reverb of a space is pretty much akin to controlling the decay time of various frequencies within a sound. And that, to me, is EQ. Because as we've discussed in the compression series, and I would encourage you to go back and watch that if you haven't yet, EQ is it's a tool that controls the relative levels of different frequencies, but when sounds last for longer, they are also louder to our ear. And when we compress them, we discussed how that can sometimes make something louder in a mix, even though the levels aren't actually louder, they just feel louder. Well, reverb can do the same thing. If a sound is continuing to happen for a longer period of time, it helps it to stand up in a mix and have more of a presence in the space that we're trying to present between loudspeakers. If we're also adding harmonics through the resonance of the room to the signals that we have, which are dry, we're enriching the harmonic content of that signal. And in that way, I like to think and use reverbs as EQ tools. In fact, I will use EQ, compression, and reverb together as a creative tool to generate harmonic content around a sound to make it feel both more present, more rich, and to have a sense of space or belonging in the mix that I'm constructing. And I will give demonstrations about that in subsequent videos. When we also think about what reverb can do for an instrument, we can actually change the instrument's harmonic content just by placing it in a different space. Even if that space is artificial, we are adding harmonic content or resonance or reinforcing harmonics in the signal, which, if they're slight in the instrument themselves, can have a chance to develop more in a reverb that reinforces those frequencies. If the frequencies of an instrument are overt or strong in one area, we might want to try to find a reverb that's going to be as strong in its tail or its resonance in the remaining harmonic spectrum so that it balances a little bit better. So there's lots of different ways that we can use reverb to alter the harmonic content of an instrument simply by applying it directly to the instrument in a mixdown situation. It also can happen during tracking. And this is one of the reasons why you might choose a space to record in. It's because the harmonic content of that space is somehow helping the instruments that you've placed in it to record. I think about this every time I walk into a studio to make recordings, whether they're multi-tracks or live recordings or live multi-tracks. We want to find ways to add microphones in different places in the room to reinforce the experience of those instruments in the room.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to view the full Mixing Essentials course, click the link that's on your screen now to learn more about becoming an Audio University member.